Wow! Next to me is an Audi R8, a gorgeous supercar with enough performance to satisfy 99.9% of the world. This R8, however, is for the crazy few who prioritize adrenaline and speed over safety and common sense. You see, the mad scientists over at Gentani have decided to strap 2 turbos to its glorious 5.2-liter V10. They've also added a methanol injection kit to lower intake temperatures, and it's all done on a stock ECU with a stock trans and stock clutches. On just 8 pounds of boost running on 91 octane, this R8 now makes more than 900 horsepower at the wheels. That's over 1,000 at the crank, and it sounds absolutely ridiculous. The car's had a host of cosmetic upgrades as well. We've got this beautiful carbon fiber Vorsteiner front splitter, as well as carbon fiber rear diffuser and wing, matte black wrap with light blue accents. The front trunk normally has a decent amount of space, but about half of it has been taken up by the methanol injection kit. Because it gets hot in SoCal, you definitely want it. I've always been a massive fan of the R8's interior. In fact, back when I had a 2015 Huracan, I was honestly jealous of some of the design elements in the R8 compared to the Huracan. For one, I think they did a much better job with the climate control. I love these little dials, they just look really cool. Same with the steering wheel design. Having that stop-start button on the steering wheel itself, yes, it is pretty cool using that fighter jet style flip-up switch, but I like it better on the steering wheel, and also having that drive select mode and the nice paddles behind the wheel. I do wish they had bigger paddles on the R8. I think it'd be nice if they were a little bit more aggressive and carbon fiber or metal instead of this a little bit chintzy plastic, but the wheel itself does feel phenomenal in your hand. You also got a little bit of creature comfort. It's a glove box. We've got cup holders right here. Bang & Olufsen sound system that sounds fantastic. I love this red leather. I think it looks really, really nice, as well as the matte finish carbon fiber. I'm really liking satin carbon fiber these days more than gloss carbon. Now, there's a couple tasteful upgrades in the interior. Stars in the Ceiling, which is a company, has installed stars in the ceiling of this headliner. We've actually got a controller right here so we can change different colors. You can also activate shooting stars if you so desire. Pretty cool mod, which you can turn off if you don't want to see it anymore, and it hides away like it was never even there. All right. Let's actually take this R8 out for a spin. The crazy thing is my friend Cam Casey owns this car and he's actually selling it. So if you happen to be interested in buying a twin turbocharged 1,000 horsepower R8, send me a message on Instagram at VehicleVirgins. Please only message me if you're actually serious about the R8. 22,000 miles on the car. It's a 2017, only about 1,000 miles on the Gentani twin turbo kit. To put the power into perspective, back in 2017, there were 2 variants of the R8. There was the R8 V10 base model, which this one is, and the V10 Plus. The base model R8 V10 had 540 horsepower and 398 pound-feet of torque. It could do 0 to 60 in slightly under 3 seconds. So for somebody to go, man, yeah, 540 horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, that thing, I think we should make it twice as fast, is absurd. But in my opinion, more power equals more better. So I am very glad that Gentani has gotten their hands on this car. Now, the R8 V10 Plus had slightly shorter gearing, so the acceleration was a little bit more intense. It also had 602 horsepower and over 400 pound-feet of torque. This car would absolutely blow that out of the water. The interesting thing is, now with that extra 500 or so horsepower, does the taller gearing in the base model R8 actually have an advantage over the V10 Plus because it has to shift less often? I don't know the answer to that, to be honest. In reviewing this car, I'm curious about 3 different things. What is it like just driving it around town slowly? If you had to commute in this car or take it to work, would it actually work as a daily driver? And I'm pleased to report it's actually unbelievable how easy this car is to drive. So we've got the drive select button on the left side of the steering wheel. I've clicked that and I've put the car into comfort mode right now. The steering is nice and loose, the powertrain isn't overly responsive, and you actually can't hear the turbos kick in whatsoever until about 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. So right now, it pretty much sounds and feels like a stock Audi R8, which in comfort mode is an unbelievable daily driver. That and the 911 Turbo S are the king daily drivable supercars in my opinion. If you go one price bracket above that, I'd add in the 720S. But I am absolutely shocked. You could drive this around every day, no problem whatsoever, and not even realize the car is twin turboed until you start to step on the gas. Now, the second environment that I was curious about and most cynical about before I got behind the wheel of it is what is it actually going to be like in the canyons? Now, when you get something like an Audi R8 or a Huracan, there's really two options if you want to increase the power significantly. Obviously, you can add an exhaust and a tune, but you're not going to get much out of a naturally aspirated car. The options really are forced induction. So do you go with a supercharger or do you go twin turbocharged? Now, when I had my Huracan, I ended up going with a supercharger because I wanted that more linear power band for the canyons. I wanted that instant response. However, it didn't sound as cool as the twin turbo kit, and it certainly wasn't quite as fast. That being said, I am really glad I went for the supercharger because I put 30,000 miles on the car and it was unbelievably reliable. The twin turbo kits in general seem to be hit or miss. This one's been flawless, but I've seen other people with twin turbo cars not get as lucky. It's definitely more stressful on the transmission because that torque comes in quicker and all at once as opposed to in a more linear fashion. So chances are it's got a higher likelihood of messing up the transmission in some way, shape, or form. But this car's been completely bulletproof. I am curious though what it's like in the canyon because it has that turbo lag. So we're gonna put it into dynamic mode in the drive select. We're gonna go ahead and put this into manual mode right now. All right, I'm at 3,000 RPMs in second gear. Let's see what happens when I floor it. So it took a second for those turbos to kick in. Between 3,000 and 6,000 RPMs, it's building boost, and then BAM! At 6,500, 7,000 RPMs, this thing absolutely starts to rip. So, what is it like in the canyons? Honestly, it's kind of terrifying. Because of that turbo lag and because the power comes on so intensely, it is a little bit creepy and unpredictable on corner exit. But on larger, swoopier turns that aren't quite as tight, where you can be more on the power, I'm sure it would be a heck of a lot more intense. So I'm gonna take this to an area that has more straightaways so I can really feel what that 1,000 horsepower is like. The steering feel in the R8 is great, so smooth. It feels so nice and it's such an easy car to drive, both quickly and slowly. Honestly, I'm jealous of my friend. This is such an epic car, and the fact that you really don't experience any of the twin turbo nature when you're daily driving it, other than if you accidentally kick down a little bit too much, you'll hear that crazy spooling. I view that as a positive. Basically, you've got a stock car low down, and then you've got an absolute animal up top. Outside of the car, the noises this thing makes are insane. I'll drop the windows a little bit so maybe you can hear it a little bit better, but once those turbos start spooling, it just makes some of the most insane tornado violent noises. And those blow-off valves. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. Sound-wise, there's no denying twin turbocharged over supercharged all the way, although I am a sucker for that supercharger whine. This thing, it just sounds freaking ridiculous. And there's just a certain presence that a twin turbocharged supercar has. When it pulls up next to you on the road and you can hear those turbos whistling and spooling, it basically is a proverbial middle finger like, don't mess with me, I'm definitely going to destroy you. Now guys, if this video gets 10,000 likes or more, I'm gonna race this Audi R8 V10 versus my Tesla Model S Plaid. 1,000 horsepower versus 1,000 horsepower. I am really curious to see which one is quicker. Here we go, first gear pull. Wow! This thing absolutely rips. Oh my God. Woo! Oh, when that boost hits, damn. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm kind of obsessed with this. I think the only problem with a car like this is once you get 1,000 horsepower, then you want more. I I mean, I'm already thinking, all right, this is sick, but what would it be like with 1,500 horsepower? And then I'm sure once you get 1,500, you're wondering what 2,000 is like, and then all of a sudden you've got a 3,000 horsepower car that you have to put in the back of a trailer to take to Texas 2K that runs a 6-second quarter mile, which honestly, I would love to experience something like that. But this really is a pretty good mix of daily drivability and stupid fast as you start getting more and more intense, although I don't know, I've seen people with built motors and significantly more horsepower kind of drive their cars around all the time. Obviously, as you stretch the limits of the engine and transmission, it's going to get increasingly more unreliable. This is kind of the sweet spot-ish for power, that 850, 900 wheel, as long as you keep the torque not too high. If the torque is too high, that's when the clutch basket just goes bam, and you start having some pretty expensive problems. Man, the sound this thing makes and the speed is just pretty addicting, I'm not gonna lie. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. Special thanks to my friend Cam Casey for letting me review this car. It is available for sale for $165,000 or best offer, so send me a message on Instagram if you are interested. Like I said, if it gets 10,000 likes, I want to race this versus the Tesla Model S Plaid. I'm also doing a point of view drive with this R8, so make sure to check that out. All right guys, see you next video.